Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to compare the Crosman trigger fix using the 5 by 8 by 2.5 millimeter RC bearing. And if you've got a really bad trigger, you've got the 5 by 9 by 3 millimeter bearing. And we've already done the adjusting screw fix on this one, and we tested it was much better than the stock trigger. Now we're going to undo that, and we are going to try the roller bearing fix. And today I'm also going to go over the do's and don'ts of fixing a Crosman trigger. We're going to start out with the don'ts. You got a E-ring or E-clip right here holding your safety on, or your safety linkage on. Do not remove that. You've got an E-ring right here for your holding the safety blade on. Do not remove that either. These two you do not remove. The only E-ring you're going to remove is this one right here, and that's on your trigger pivot pin. And to do that, you want to hook like this. You want to hook it inside, and then you want to hold down firmly with your finger so that when that comes off, that E-ring does not go flying. Because you can buy these E-rings from Crosman, but you're better off by just making sure you don't lose the one that you have. You then press this pin in and remove this pin. You will then slip the bearing or the trigger blade out. Now you have a pin right here with holding this spring on. That gives it a lot more tension, and you cannot have that in there, so we're gonna push that pin out and remove the spring. Now you've got your, so now you take your 5 by 8 by 2.5 millimeter bearing, slip it in there, and then put your pin back in. Okay, now we now have the bearing covering the roller pin. Now hold your finger underneath this hole and slip your trigger back in. Replace your pin. Flip the gun over. Take your E-clip and be very careful with it. You don't want it to go flying. Put your finger over this pin and then push on until it latches. Make sure that pin does not go flying. Now we are going to remove the adjusting screw. Okay, now we've got our 3mm by 10mm adjusting screw out, and we should still have this pin and this spring left out. You know, set that aside. You might want to keep it in case you go back to just the adjusting screw, but I don't think you really need that screw because the trigger gets a lot lighter without it. You can see the trigger moves so much easier without that. Okay, we're now ready to put the stock back on and give it a try. Okay, first I'm going to show you the trigger as it was before we did anything to the rifle. Okay, we have a pellet in the rifle and it's cocked, and we'll see how long this trigger is. Now I'm going to show you the trigger after installing a longer trigger adjusting screw. Safety's working. And now we're going to take a look at the trigger with the roller bearing in it. That's a fairly short pull. So some might like it like that, some might like it better with the adjusting screw modification. I think when I open up this rifle to rebuild it, I'm going to put the screw back in without putting that spring back in and see how it works that way. But that is how you do the RC bearing fix on a Crosman trigger the proper way, so you don't over disassemble the trigger so you can't get it back together. Thank you for watching.